Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tesla Life, show 101, now into the triple digits. If you haven't noticed, we are there. And today is Wednesday, the 29th of May. So getting close to the end of the month as well. So here we are about to enter into the summer season. So glad you can join us tonight. And let's see who's with us tonight as well. No, not going to look? Okay, we'll skip that one. We're looking at Mr. Tony Schaefer in Chicago. How are you today, sir?
I am doing well, and I want to clarify something real quick for 01010, who I know is in the chat room. This is episode 101, not 5.
Very good, very good.
Binary jokes.
Yeah, binary jokes. Never a loss for binary jokes. Exactly. Next, from South Carolina, Mr. Casey Green's with us tonight. How are you today, sir?
A little warm. I had the AC on for a while, and it still isn't cooling down here.
Well.
Yeah, that's that SEC heat wave is enjoyable, isn't it?
I don't know about sports ball, but it was 101 degrees yesterday and today.
That is,
Fahrenheit.
You've got some hot weather. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And speaking of hot weather, Mr. Frost.
No, it's
in San Diego, California. How
Can
are
I
you
tell
today?
you that it is a lovely 70 degrees right now?
That's the doctor on the wrong side of the panel.
Okay, hate me. And I was kind of bitching about it not 5 minutes ago because I'm waiting for later in the week when it's 75. It's just a little bit chilly yet. 75.
So 2 degrees is just not there. You need to be 75 exactly.
I mean, around 75. You know, that 70 thing is like if you're in the shade, you're cold. If you're in the sun, you're good.
Yeah.
75 is like, okay, you're kind of good everywhere. I'm sounding like a whiner.
Yeah,
Hey, everybody.
You're a spoiled brat.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we've had thunderstorms and tornadoes like every other day for the last week and a half. So
I watered my plants today.
yeah.
Does that count? No, I mean, I went out there with the hose and I watered them. I held them in water.
No, it doesn't count.
I love it here. Thank you, San Diego.
Man,
we're about to lose our host. Mark, are you okay?
I am just getting over a cold, so I may lapse into coughing fits at any point.
I thought for a second there, I thought you were choking on that San Diego bullshit.
Oh, you know what? More tornadoes your way, okay?
Oh man. Well, before we go any further into this, into the weather reports and such, I just wanted to touch upon our first story this evening.
Okay.
There have been, actually, I'm going to skip to our second one. Elon leaked his own. Well, did he leak his own? I'm not sure. In the media, there was a leaked sales information report that Elon apparently made. Now, whether he leaked it or not, or someone else leaked it, because we know the security's airtight over there. Anything that is reported to employees absolutely does not go beyond those employees. Yeah, not everything does leak through. It's a sieve. But there was this new report that was indicating that Elon had mentioned that he believes that this quarter, which is quarter 2 for 2019, is going to beat their biggest quarter previously, which was Q4 of 2018. So that's interesting because, of course, there's been downward pressure on the Tesla stock. There's been a lot of bad news stories from the media over the last number of weeks, and people just generally down on demand for cars, for Model 3 specifically. But according to this leaked memo from Elon to employees, they are about to have their largest I guess, delivery quarter ever. And that's what the memo has said. So is it true or not? I guess we've got another 4 weeks to find out till the end of the quarter. But that was interesting to see splashed across a number of blogs in the Tesla world this week.
Well, can I add something here?
Certainly.
Okay, because it's going to be positive and uplifting, right?
Of course.
So the scuttlebutt out of Fremont is that, and I should have looked first. I don't think I'm preempting a news story, but the scuttlebutt out of Fremont is they've been closing off tours and closing off parts of the factory because they're retooling to combine the S and X line and produce Model Y in Fremont.
Right.
And the further scuttlebutt is that they may close down the factory for some period of time in June to affect this changeover, so they can start working on the Y line, which would be a really good, like, oh, we missed our goals. Well, we meant to, but then we had to close the factory.
Right. Yeah. So that's other news that's prompted its head this week, is that there could be a Y line being set up or positioned in another parking lot under a sprung structure. Who knows where they'll place it? Yeah, So who knows in this world of leaked, non-leaked, intentionally leaked, possibly intentionally leaked information? We have no idea. But this certainly made the news this week.
All right, I want to touch on the leak thing.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, because of course, Elon's been receiving some grief from the SEC, grief to no end. And they're saying, okay, look, you're a CEO. You can't be leaking this stuff. You can't be posting things on Twitter about targets and things, whatever. So what does he do? He sends an email to employees knowing damn well that it's going to get out. So it was it just seems to me that it was a roundabout Elon leak. Last week, the email went out that said, don't leak emails. We know that because the don't leak emails email was leaked. This week, it's targets that are being leaked. So, and he can't, this gives him the opportunity to go to the SEC and say, it wasn't me. I didn't leak it. This was an internal memo. Someone else leaked it. I didn't want them to, so you can't blame me for this. But you knew damn well it was going to get out.
Well, I mean, they did have 2 emails that went out that said, don't leak stuff or we could get you. So, I mean, he could reasonably assume that they might listen to him.
No. No. You don't send 45,000 emails out and assume that no one's going to leak that.
That's
no
like
one
sending,
rationally can assume that, right?
that's like sending out 45,000 emails and assuming that no one is going to reply to all. You know it's going to happen. No one wants it to happen, but you know it will happen.
Well, he knows that it happened because they've already proven that they leaked the don't leak emails 3 times now in the last 5 years.
Yes.
But
isn't that a perfect excuse, though, Casey? Would you not agree that is a perfect excuse?
It's a perfect cover.
I would never leak this. Just happens that these employees that don't listen to me, they leaked it. Wasn't me.
He would be super stupid to think that he could leak it directly. So I think that either he was naive in thinking that the last 2 emails worked, or, like you said, it's a good cover.
Okay, I will never accept an argument that Elon Musk was naive in anything that includes a business something. The dude is a serial entrepreneur who has launched and sold and crushed and done so many great things. For him to send this out to tens of thousands of people, and then we say, oh, he was naive, he didn't think it was going to be. No, I don't buy that.
No, I'm saying that if he didn't do the calculus like you all said, that would be naivety. But he hasn't, that we know of, he hasn't been up late on any projects for weeks on end, so we can't use that he's too tired judgment excuse. I don't know. But
dude, when you run out of excuses, the last thing that remains is it was on purpose. I think that's a Sherlock Holmesian approach.
Was it the simplest explanation is usually right? But,
no, it's when you run out of wrong things,
Okay.
the only thing that remains is right. When you run out of alibis, all that remains is liability.
Yeah. As far as shutting down the factory, I don't think that they might do like they did when the Model 3 came out and like shut it down for a day or two, but I don't see them shuttering it for any length of time.
But I have seen that. We have seen that happen. We have
Yeah.
seen Fremont been shut down in the Model 3 line for over a week when they were
we've seen lines shut
when
down.
they
We
were
haven't-
configuring
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah, but we haven't seen
And
the whole
this
thing.
this certainly could happen with we're getting ready for the Model Y line. That certainly could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen next month or the month after,
Yeah.
but certainly that's not outside of the realm of possibilities because that's how they operate.
Yeah, but it won't be as big as people are making it out to be. They shut down Model S line when they put in line 2, and they shut the whole factory down for a moment when they put in the Model 3 line. I just don't see them having it shut down long enough that it's going to destroy them.
So, Casey, to your point, if let's say they, just for the sake of discussion,
Mhm.
the Fremont does get shut down for 10 days.
Okay. They'll
Why
probably
would
burst before that.
Why would you think that they'll burst? You think?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Like you said, he's a businessman. He's not a stranger to all this.
You don't think, and obviously, if they knew they needed a certain amount of production, they would burst before that, have the
Exactly.
production ready, and get them over the hump of however long it would take.
Or foolishly assume they could burst after. We've seen
Yeah,
them try
that
that too.
Yeah, that's So,
Bursting isn't exactly a sound business strategy,
no,
but
it's never.
I'll be the
is.
last one to accuse Elon, the ultimate manufacturer, Musk, of not doing things the right way. So,
But I just don't see them giving ammo to these people who want to see them fail. I was speaking to some family members and some other folks that know I'm a fan of the company and enjoy my vehicle. And some of the stuff that was brought to me that they'd heard was just out and out lies. I mean, it wasn't stretches, it wasn't conjecture, it was just fabricated. And I was like, well, where did you hear this? And then I explained it to them, and they're like, oh, okay, I'm not afraid to buy this car.
Well, there's absolutely a wide spectrum of information that's out in the media, and different people spread things for their own particular reasons. And you're right. There's good and bad out there at any time. And actually, with Tesla, it's the volume of good and bad that is the issue. Is that if you just look for bad, you got no problem finding it. And if you're looking for good, you can find that too. It's because it's such a mass amount of information is being released about the company at all times by all these different levels. Unlike a regular company, there's less chatter, there's less available information, whether it's right or wrong. So this, for better or for worse, that is Tesla's bed, and they're forced to sleep in it. That's the way it's going to be.
that sounds very harsh, Mark. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Russell.
I
Thanks.
just-
Really appreciate that. Yeah.
I just wanted to say something defensive about Tesla.
Well, I mean, like Russell speaks just a common state of he's not amping it up or anything. He's just common, using your brain, working your way through the process, and people just dogpile on him all the time. I'm like, dudes,
Wait. I'm sorry. People dogpile on Elon?
on you.
Oh, on me. Oh, I give a fuck about that.
Well,
I was like, please.
Some of the stuff they're like, oh, he wants to see the company fail. He wants to do this and that. I'm like, no,
Yeah, well.
he's working his way through a process, and it's a sound argument.
He's just following the data
Yeah.
where it lies and how he sees and how we see sometimes the where it leads to.
And he calls out his opinion. He doesn't fabricate
Doesn't hold
stuff.
back on anything. Russell, he's just
Well, there's that
like a
too,
pit
but-
bull. Just never lets go. Just grabs on it and pit bull.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Next story, we'll skip back to our number one. This was in the new release software update recently. Tesla has updated the screens. So I'm going to share this from our friend, the Purple Model 3.
We have a friend
And
named the Purple Model 3.
We do.
I didn't know
Twitter
that.
friend.
You didn't know that? Okay.
Yay! No, I think that's great because I'm guessing that's a. Oh,
So the
is
new
that P for
screen.
Purple Model 3?
No.
Oh
P
no,
for Park.
okay.
That's
I'm
just a
sorry.
coincidence.
Yeah, good one though.
But this is a snapshot of the left-hand side of the driving screen, where it shows the information from the car that you're in this case, a Model 3. And what's interesting is that the new graphics have appeared, which you can't really tell from this Twitter pic, but it's there's a lot more detail to it. The graphics are more crisp. There's more details that are shown, and again, unfortunately, it's not quite showing in this type of a photograph. But you'll notice in the Model 3 that the images are somewhat larger in certain circumstances, and then when cars surround you and shows traffic in both lanes, it goes to a different perspective than what was available previously. So I'll just see if we can jump here to one
Not
other
naked pictures,
photo.
are they? Okay.
Where was it? It was like the dancing cars.
Yeah.
The Purple Model 3 had posted for us. Here it is. So we should be able to share this one. There we go. So this, of course, is called the Tesla Dance Party, as the vehicles jump around behind you. So you can, those familiar with it know that near the center here is your vehicle, and then the radar is showing everything else that's around you. Are you guys seeing the animation?
Yes.
Okay. So what we've got here is the other vehicles spinning out of control all around you as you move through traffic, or in this case, traffic is moving around you. So you can see the little brake lights that appear on the ground below this particular icon of yourself. And then the other vehicles are, of course, the radar showing the other vehicles, whether they're minivans, regular cars, or trucks. Also, motorcycles and pedestrians and cyclists do show up as well. But it's kind of cool that they have upgraded this, and they now are showing this different viewpoint and more graphic detail. And I was surprised that this type of detail went into it. Apparently, and I haven't seen this myself yet because different instances will show different things, but if you're looking at the top of the car in this image, you'll get like a shot of the moon will appear in the glass, or if it's raining outside, there will be little droplets of water on the image of the car, and there's all sorts of different clouds move across the glass of the car as well. So all sorts of fine detail that people have added into this UI, which was surprising that this stuff was there, but kind of cool.
Yep.
Very cool.
You get this on. My favorite part is the bus.
The bus, yes. Yeah,
Mostly
so,
because it calls a lot of people who stand next to my window talking to me. It calls them buses.
The other cool thing is that you saw those dancing cars in the video. That typically does happen with a new release, that the radar kind of starts to get trained on stuff. And I noticed that at an early release, there's a lot of dancing cars. But as time goes along, everything gets solid. And those cars start to move regularly as time goes along. I don't know if that's coincidence or not, but it has been my experience with software releases.
Mine also solved it. It turned off.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had the full display for like 2-3 days, and then my autopilot computer went on vacation.
Ah,
yeah.
Okay.
It's still in there. It still powers on and talks back to Tesla, but it's not doing much.
It's not doing what it should be doing.
That's right.
Okay.
I've got a service appointment on Friday. They're going to reset it.
Tony, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was going to say the way those other cars were spinning around, I thought, maybe it had snowed again in your area.
I took my daughter and her friend for a ride just yesterday. They were going to a concert in Toronto, and they were having the time of their lives, laughing, seeing all these cars spinning out of control on the screen as we're going through traffic. And it is quite hilarious that when you're playing music in the car, it looks like some of the cars are dancing to the music is what's going on.
Or maybe all the other cars are standing still. It's you that's
It's me.
out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think we would have been all sick if that had been the case. But
that stuff is legal in Canada now.
Yeah. Model S and Model X do get the same graphics. The only difference is we don't get that zoom in when you turn the car on. Ours goes from the profile to on top.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's I don't have the other perspective. I only have the one Model 3, but it's interesting that it is different between models.
Okay,
So-
if they want to add some really cool animation, here's what they should do. If you're in navigation and you're zoomed out really far and you can see where you are, on the streets and whatever, and you hit the button, it should zoom in slowly, fast, but slowly. Zoom in right to you and take that. Push another button and it should zoom out to the like satellite view. That would be cool.
That would be pretty nifty. They've got the technology.
They could probably do that.
Yeah, they probably could. Yep.
All right, next story for our friends in China who are looking for a job. Apparently, Gigafactory 3 is now posting new jobs for the new factory. So it's certainly it's not all jobs. It's just a few spattering of jobs. But along with that information, a little bit later in the week, we did get I guess it was a teaser in Chinese that had indicated that the Gigafactory opening was coming, and we were fortunate to get a translation, because we don't read Chinese. Bottom line.
Oh,
Yeah. So
don't understand it.
So to me, it just looked like some characters, but they were able to translate for us and indicate that yes, indeed, this teaser was indicating that we were approaching the start of Gigafactory 3, which is again, we've been following the progress of this since January of the beginning of this year. And now we're at the point where jobs are now starting to be offered and positions are starting to be filled. So more indication that by the end of May, which is only 2 days away, that they're still on track for time. And great pictures there shared by Tony of the immense size. Check out the gentleman. Well, I thought his arms were stretched out, but he's actually carrying something.
This one down here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's going, look how big it is.
Yeah.
And it's interesting again to see the mammoth size of this project and how fast it's gotten to this point.
Yeah, so it looks like, of course, they're putting the insulation down on there. They're insulating the roof for. That's a lot of insulation.
Oh yes. Well, I saw pictures.
But actually, that's the opening day cake that they're putting together.
Oh.
Yellow cake, getting it ready. Yes.
But I saw pictures from their job fair, and the room was just packed. It was a very large looking room, like a school gymnasium, and it was full. Lines just coming out the door. It was.
Yeah, and of course, more information about is that as the walls closed in, interior work is underway, and of course, the drones don't get to see as much from the outside anymore. So we're just going to be looking at a blank shell probably in the future, and maybe some HVAC guys installing equipment to cool or heat the plant in certain areas.
Somebody is going to buy cheap drones, and they're just going to fly them in
through the windows. Yeah,
they're going to fly them in, and they're just going to be a kamikaze. They know they're not going to get it back, and they're just going to grab what they can get.
Just collect whatever video footage they can get.
Yes.
Put the headset on.
Absolutely.
Do it first person.
I think our next story, Mr. Russell Frost has something to us about maybe space.
And I think I'm still presenting.
No, I'm not going to do that.
You're not going to do it, huh?
No. So as a matter of fact, turns out not Tesla, but a company closely related to Tesla that we all know and love, SpaceX, did manage to deploy the first 60 Starlink satellites. The gigantic Astro Pez dispenser, as I think it was referred to. And they were deployed successfully. They appear to have gotten to where they need to go. It's a slow process. It's not necessarily like, boom, they spit them out of the thing and then it's instantly there. They kind of work their way into, they actually slow down to change altitude. So this went out. And luckily, this is the first of, well, who knows how many, but this is the first part of that constellation that is now up and ready to go.
I think they said 20 launches before it'd be worldwide useful. 26, somewhere around there.
What I thought was... Go ahead.
No. I've heard different numbers. That's why I didn't really quote, and I don't know, let's just let's assume the worst. Maybe it won't be worldwide coverage. Maybe they'll decide to just do some regional things.
It'll be 6 to get one ring of the shell done.
Well, and then there's different levels, and
yeah. So it'll be 6 before they can turn it on, and I think 20 or 26 before it's useful either at a good portion of the world or worldwide, and then they're going to continue to fill it because mostly useful is different than useful.
Yeah. What I thought was interesting about all these 60 reporting back to base station on Earth that they were operational and fine was that upon launch, they described it as they kind of spread out like a deck of cards. So it was released from the nose cone. It was sent into the proper orbit or direction of orbit. And then the 60, which are, a lot of them are flat and compacted together. They just started to break apart and fan them out into like a deck of cards. And there was a couple of shots from Earth. I don't have one available to me, but where they picked it up, the constellation of them flying over a country at night, and you could see the little dots of light real close together as they flew by that country, and that was them fanning out. So very cool to see. There is a couple of pictures of people, and I can't remember what country it was. It wasn't North America, but someone had gotten a picture of this fanning out effect that was going on shortly after the release from the Falcon 9 rocket.
Okay, I have to say, because I'm a SpaceX shorter and I hate everything SpaceX and Elon.
If you're able to short SpaceX, I think
you're
good
good
with you.
because it's a private company.
Just prefacing that right here. As much as we think it's really cool that you can look up and see a shit ton of new little satellites scattered, there are a lot of night sky viewers and astronomers who are really, really pissed off about this.
Oh yeah, they got into a Twitter battle with Elon, and he said they were aware and that they are going to make more modifications to the programming to minimize the light. And for the guy who was complaining vehemently about the radio pollution, he said that we're not even using the radio bands that you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I'm not even the radio thing. Just looking up and viewing night sky and having even more, hundreds more satellites screaming across the night sky while you're trying to take, let's say, long duration photos.
You know who's really going to piss off are the people that are hunting for UFOs. This is a whole constellation of extra space things that are zipping by that they could point at and say, look, it's a UFO. No, it's not. It's just a SpaceX satellite.
Right. Found one.
He also said that they were interested in getting some more space-based satellites out, space-based telescopes out there, because not only do you have everything that's already out there, you also have the atmosphere to get through. So he's thinking that this platform could be used.
And let's not, I'm sorry, Casey.
He was thinking the platform could be used for some less expensive space-based telescopes. Obviously in a different orbit. But go ahead.
Yeah, they've been doing space-based telescopes for decades.
Yeah, but they were expensive.
But they've been doing them. Okay.
Yeah. What were you saying, Russell?
Some of the astronomers that I follow were talking about this, and let's be clear. Right now, Tesla's the target because they're the most prominent and they're the first. But there are other companies that are talking about doing the same thing. And part of the concern from the astronomical community is that, there's SpaceX's constellation, there's Blue Origin or whoever else. There's several of these low Earth orbit constellations. And that's when you really start to have problems with with observatories, and just when it's going to be much more visible. So will it be much more visible? Frankly, I think there's been a lot more smoke on this than light, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, again, SpaceX putting up 1,500 plus of these into their own constellation. That's a huge amount, right?
Yeah.
And if you're right, if every other company, say there's another dozen companies that wants to do it themselves,
It's at least 3.
that's triple, quadruple the amount of because they're all going to want to put up the same amount. They want smaller, cheaper satellites, and that means more satellites. So it could become a big space junk thing that happens as time goes along.
I was impressed that he was willing to work with them on this, and that he was willing to reprogram the satellites to make it even more minimal than they'd already planned for. I don't know that the others will participate this way, particularly not Bezos and whoever it was that kept pushing SpaceX down and down and down in orbit.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking the scene in Wall-E when they punch through the atmosphere and all the stuff is bouncing off the spaceship.
I don't remember that, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, well, I guess we'll see as time goes along. But this internet-based satellite system is going to be making the news for quite some time. So we'll have to see as time goes along. Next story, and I'm having difficulty finding the animation, but I am going to show the photo here. We have an email animation that was sent up. It was put on Twitter recently that showed the march of the EVs as it was from 2012 up to close to present, where this bar graph would grow as time goes along, and it would show the models overtaking each other and moving up to the number one position with a number of vehicles that were being moved into the marketplace. And it's a great little animation, and I'm sure you've seen it. It was widespread across Twitter and Facebook recently, and it's worth the 80 seconds or 60 seconds to watch as it goes through the different models and they start to overtake themselves. And then, of course, the Juggernaut Model 3 moving quickly from the ranks from the bottom to the top. It seems, of course, just in a year and a half, 2 years, and it's on top of the pyramid quite quickly. So, does someone have it going there?
Yeah, I do. You want me to restart it?
Present that. Go ahead. Yeah,
okay.
reset.
Here, we'll restart it. So, and there you go.
So you're off. There's 5.
And the
Leafs
Leafs roll up. The Bolts is taking it. I wanted to do my best Kentucky Derby calling.
The Chevy Volt lead with a Nissan Leaf coming from the outside. Close to the top. And overtaking the Volt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, new challenger appears.
The challenger Tesla shows up. What the heck's a Tesla?
And just like the Kentucky Derby, some of the entrants get euphanized along the way.
Whoa!
Very interesting that it takes over that quickly and jumps to the head of the pack. But over that period of basically 2011 or 2010 up to present day. So kind of a cool animation if you have a chance to check it out.
Yeah.
It's inspiring.
It's inspiring is right. We've come such a long way.
Right?
Which is fantastic.
I remember hybrids will only ever be 1% of the market, So glad not to climb that mountain.
I don't know how many times someone quoted to me, but that's only 0.2% of the entire market.
Right.
Well, not anymore, my friend. Things are on fire in the EV world. We are moving up the ranks and moving up quickly.
Bad metaphor. Bad metaphor. Ixnay on the fire.
Time to look for another metaphor. Okay. Oh,
hold
my
on.
goodness.
Elon says you're an asshole. He called, okay?
Sure he did. Right.
Okay, it was an email. I wasn't supposed to leak it.
We know Elon doesn't call anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Next, electricity costs around the world. There was this article here recently in Inside EVs that talked a little bit about how much people are paying to fill up, say, their Model S in different countries across the world. And what do you guys have obviously read the article, but the US is quite into the list. It's not the cheapest place to charge your EV. It's not the most expensive place, kind of in the middle of the pack.
Which is nice for a change.
But the other surprise is that Canada is the third cheapest to install to charge up your Model S.
Canada! Oh, sorry.
At about $11 is what it's saying for Canada, and in second place Australia at 11 or close to it. But the cheapest place to charge your EV in the world, as it sits today, is the country of Chile at $7. So interesting.
And you need to move to Chile right there.
You got to move to Chile if you want cheap electricity at this particular moment, because as soon as you get there, who knows what it will be. But
I'm out of here. Thanks.
Yeah. But most expensive countries on the other end of the spectrum, Denmark at $34 to fill it, the same car. Germany, $33. Belgium, $28. Italy, $27. And the Green Republic of Ireland, $26 to fill that same Model S.
See, I was particularly shocked by this because Germany is transitioning to full renewable energy. And they had days, I think it was last year and maybe already even this year, when they've not consumed any fossil fuels and have gone full regenerative. And so how is it $33? How is the electricity so expensive? They have to pay for all those windmills and turbines and solar panels?
Well, actually, there was a number of government programs that pushed the price of electricity higher because they were using renewables. There were different programs that the public was using, which actually pushed the cost of the actual electricity generation higher. Although you were still getting it renewable and green, but you paid more for it. So that's not too much of a surprise because Germany apparently was overladen with solar subsidies for some time in the past decade, and they've started to come out of that. But that was a big issue in Germany, not just 3 years ago, I believe. So it's something that has worked itself into the pricing model.
So if for some reason I had no solar production, it would cost me $13.5 to fill my Model X from 0 to full. But if there's sun, then it's free.
Right. Well, it's not free.
It is free. I paid it off.
But you had to pay for it at some place.
It was free with the house.
So no, it's not free. It isn't free.
No, I mean literally in South Carolina they don't value renewables, so they.
But Casey, there was a capital expenditure at some point, and it was you that put the capital in place.
No, what I'm saying is, it like the house across the street cost the same as my house, and it already had 18 panels on it when I bought it. I added 9 more.
So you paid for those 9 extra panels.
Yeah, I did. And they're paid off now.
Then it wasn't free, was it?
Okay. I think we scraped the bottom of that downward spiral. So how many miles?
I killed myself.
Oh wow, I'm sorry.
So we're we're talking about charging a Model S, let's say. So how many so tell me the range. Go ahead and give me the mileage range.
The mileage range of a Model S, typical?
Yeah, typical. Mid-range.
Okay, you're looking at what, Casey, 460 kilometers, which is how many miles roughly?
Oh, I was looking at kilowatt hours. So 100 and change because they round down for the Model 100D. In kilometers.
What's it in miles?
370 for the Model S, 100D.
Okay, so if it's 370 miles, and we're going to say that the average sedan is going to get, what do you want to say, 35 miles per gallon?
That's the efficient ones, probably 25.
Very efficient ones, yeah.
Okay, so 25. So 370 divided by 25 miles, that's 14.8 gallons. I have to multiply that times, what is it? I'm just going to go 4 times, that's 59.2 liters. The cost of fuel in Germany right now is $1.53 per liter. That's $90 to travel the same distance in petrol in Germany compared to in Germany compared to 33.
So 33 is still a bargain. For energy in Germany.
Yes, yeah, and I took some liberties with the translation, as you know. So yeah, a third. So even though we're saying that's really expensive, it's still a third the cost of a conventional car.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
If you find somebody else's solar to charge off of, it'd be even less.
If you find someone else's plug, it's cheap too. Exactly. If you're not paying the bill, it's great. Yeah,
that's true.
Next story: Tesla limits supercharger charging to 80% in congested locations.
I got hit with that.
Don't panic. There is an override. But this happened this week. It was noted that that in certain supercharge locations that are busy, let's call it out, Southern California, like almost all of them, are overridden with cars, and they're trying to ease congestion for people waiting to get a supercharge by limiting the full charge to 80% on a car that plugs in at given superchargers. And of course, a number of people, both sides of the issue. You've got people that are complaining about it, and you got people that are applauding it. So that's nothing new. But later in the week, there was an epiphany moment where someone indicated that, well, once you're there at the supercharger, you can either use your phone or the car's screen by just moving the percentage on your car screen to a higher percentage, and you can skip by the 80%. So pretty easy solution to avoid it. And anyone that owns a car and has played with the percentage of battery, which I have a number of times, it's going to be easy to overcome. So this is not going to do much now that this news is out. That's all you have to do is slide the slide bar a little bit more to the right, and you can keep charging.
Yep. So this hit me on Saturday coming back from my sister's wedding before the autopilot went on vacation. And it said, oh, you're at a very busy station. We're going to limit you to 80%. I was the only car there. Yeah. So Columbia, South Carolina is one of the permanently busy stations, as well as Greenville, South Carolina. And I was like, all right, I wonder if I can reset it using my third-party app. So I pulled it up, changed the charge percentage to exactly what I wanted, and it, boop, saw the meter change on the screen. I didn't have enough time to see if it would actually charge past 80% or how it would behave. But
because you didn't need the extra juice anyways.
Exactly. I only needed 60% to get home.
Yeah.
And that's what I took. And shoot. Forgot where I was going with that.
So,
so
would you concur that certainly that particular supercharger is typically a busy one?
Okay, so here's the thing with those stations, and I do remember what I was going to say now. The stations near I-26 are permanently busy because the entirety of I-26 has not a single supercharger on it, and so people have to detour to Columbia, Greenville, Santee to get close. And what I was going to say there was that they announced at launch of this feature that the car, if you're using the trip planner feature, it will automatically override it as it used to do in the past. That it will automatically override the 80% and get you what you need to complete your journey according to the trip planner.
Okay, so again, both sides of the spectrum, people upset, people not upset. So yeah.
Hey, that's when you know you did it right. Right? I mean, that's when you know you did it right. When half the people are complaining and half the people are praising, then you nailed it.
That is a perfect compromise.
Oh my goodness, that's the way it is. That is the absolute way it is. Next story. Oh, it's my story. We had I had service for the first time in my Model 3. Happened this week. So I'll tell you my little service story. When I bought the vehicle, I had an issue with against the front, passenger side, against the column in the middle of the car. I had a piece of the fabric piece was buckled out. And I noticed this after I had accepted the car and was driving away and discovered it upon parking it for the first time and reviewing it in more detail that I had this issue, that this buckling had happened in my carpet. So I had phoned the Tesla representative in Oakville, and just having the new car just that day, I arranged to drop by the next day just to show them, see if they needed new parts for the vehicle. They looked it over and said they tried to put it in place and they couldn't get it done, but this was brand new to them as well because it had just been released in Canada 2 days prior. So their technicians weren't completely sure. So they had said, you know what? It's not affecting the car. If you want to drive it for some time and then just come back to us at a later date, we can certainly do that. We're just going to add it to the record. We're going to take a photograph of it, and you can get back to us when your schedule says that you can drop by. So I said, yeah, great. I wanted to enjoy the car. I just took it out, and that was it. So a year went by, and I decided that, maybe I should get that fixed because it hasn't been fixed from that point forward. So I called Tesla, and sure enough, they did have a record of my year earlier visit, and said, yeah, we can do that for you if you want to come down. I said, but there's a new service station opening in Kitchener, right? And they said, yes, we know. We just don't have an official date. And they said, what we'll do is we'll send a note to the mobile technician that's in your area and ask them to come by and take a look at the car. So I said, great, that's fine. So they took the note down. I got an email that the technician was sent a note. I was, in the meantime, waiting for the mobile tech to send me a note back or to communicate. I had actually spoke to another friend of mine in the Kitchener area who had dealt with the mobile technician and said, oh, here's the guy's number. So he gave it to me. So I just called him up on a Saturday, this past Saturday, told him the problem. He said, yeah, I have your ticket here. And he said, can you drop by the new shop at maybe 2 p.m. today? And I said, absolutely, I'll do that. So Saturday, drive down 2 p.m. And the technician was kind enough to open the door for me. I drove right into the new service center. And then he gave me a tour of the new facilities and proceeded to fix the problem that I was having. And go ahead, Russell.
No, where are the photos? Where's the video? Come on.
I'm under NDA. I am unable to share pictures in the. I was just.
That's cool.
Tesla really doesn't like you taking pictures of their employees.
So I didn't take any pictures of the employees for the ones I can share, but here is a shot of the service vehicle that they're driving.
Oh, look at you go.
Cool.
So there's a converted Model S with these cool rollout casters that are in the back.
That is awesome.
With his tools loaded in different levels of these casters that roll out at different. I think there's 2 of them that roll out. And cool looking car. And he was showing, I got a close up of like, there's the one caster above and the lower one. And they're kind of, the one on top's a little shorter.
Yeah.
And they obviously slide all the way in to the point where the hatchback can close.
That is an awesome mod right there. Man.
Fun fact, they convert those around the corner from my house, as well as the Sprinter vans for Amazon and FedEx.
Oh, so they contracted out to a local guy in your area.
Yeah. Which is amazing because our local tech doesn't have one of these.
Okay.
He has the van.
All right. So this gentleman told me that he travels from really all over the place. Once Canada launched last year, this gentleman's been traveling from Winnipeg, which is, a huge distance from where we are, different province, and further to the northwest, Barrie area, down into the Niagara region, down towards Windsor. He's covering a huge swath of the country, and is pushed in all sorts of different directions. He was telling us, and Kitchener is going to be one of the home bases for a mobile team that will divide up the territory a little better travel-wise. But Kitchener apparently is going to be a particular hub in the Tesla service centers in Ontario. So, and then as he fixes the problem for me with the carpeting on the center console, he indicated, he said, great. He said, drop by anytime. Gave me his card and said, yeah, happy to help. And as I'm driving out of the bay, he says, hold on, what's that squeak? And I had heard it a day before earlier, but it had slipped my mind. And since the car was in between two walls as I was heading out, the squeak was quite pronounced. And he says, I know what exactly that is. That is a brake caliper clip that is rubbing on your disc for the car. So he said, I've got an extra set right here. He said, why don't you just pull in and we'll put you up on the hoist and get that fixed. I said, yeah, great. So we spun the car around, put it up on the hoist. He took the wheel off and put in a couple new clips and buttoned me up, and I was on my way in another 15 minutes. So great service I got, and went the extra mile immediately, which was fabulous for something that I wasn't even sure I needed. But he was able to fix that immediately as well.
Another fun fact for you. The Model 3 and the non-performance Model S and Model X have drag-free brakes. So there should be no rubbing when they're not actively braking.
Okay, so they don't
they
don't use that clip system.
Oh, no, I'm saying that because it was making noise, it should not have been making any noise at low speed unless you were pushing the brake pedal. Because the Model 3 and then the new Model S and Model X that are not performance cars aren't supposed to have any brake drag. So they heard that, boom, it's wrong when they fix it. That's awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So great to get that out of the way. That was my first service experience, and I have to say it was very good. So I'm quite impressed. Obviously, I didn't have very many things wrong with it, and being able to, having a bulge in the carpet is not really anything to complain about, anyways. But it got fixed up, and I'm glad it's out of the way and we can move along. So great. All right, what do we got next here? Oh yes, the tunnel story. So recently.
I'm just going to sit this one out.
You sure, Russell? Because this is right up your alley.
No, it's up my something.
There was a video posted on Inside EVs that Tesla created, and basically what they did in Hawthorne, where they have that 1 mile, 1.6 mile tunnel.
The test tunnel. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the test tunnel near the SpaceX factory. They basically made a video of someone driving in Hawthorne traffic on the street level above, and then someone driving a Model X through the tunnel, and they timed it. So, excuse me. So, what was interesting, of course, is that the Model X in the tunnel got to the end much quicker. But come on, it's a 1 mile tunnel, and there was no talk about the elevator time to get back out of the tunnel. It was just zipping along in the tunnel. So again, is it real? No, not really. It's just kind of promotion for the Boring Company and its ability to cut tunnels. And in another note, that was an additional part of this, not part of this story, but certainly part of the discussion. Elon got in a kind of a Twitter tirade about tunnel construction, and he indicated something along the lines that trains, which are typically in tunnels as subways, they should be run on the surface. It's far better to have vehicles or cars in tunnels, and it's like the BART system of I guess that's San Francisco. The BART system tweeted back at Elon, promoting, of course, themselves, showing different charts about how many people they can move underground as opposed to a car on the surface. And vice versa, and it just got silly. But the Boring Company making some news. I don't know. We're still on the outside of this. We look at it and say, yeah, you could push a number of Model X's through a tunnel system, but how many people you're actually moving?
Are you guys still talking about this?
So there was some interesting news about what we saw here. They instead of using a Model X this time, they used a Model 3. And it didn't have the training wheels on it. It did it entirely on autopilot. And there's also a floor in the tunnel now. When they did the Model X's, it was kind of on these concrete rails. Yeah, it was a big trench. And they hit 127 miles an hour. And in the video, you can see it was much smoother than when the X was running on those training wheels.
How long was that tunnel? They hit 127.
Just over a mile, yeah.
And did they get up to 127 and then stop at the end of the mile?
They did not stop. They got up to 127 and they slowly started to back it back down. The other interesting thing was there was no elevator this time. So it by the time it hit the ramp, it was doing 30 miles an hour again, the ramp to get out.
So that was like a rapid acceleration, rapid deceleration.
I wouldn't say rapid, but it was brisk.
It would have to have been. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can see the numbers jump up, but it didn't look like when I floored in a Model 3 Performance or in my Model X.
I thought when SF Bart responded to this that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Elon's like, I run the trains on the surface and the cars below.
And then that's when Bart got involved. So no.
Yeah.
That just does not make any sense.
No. Yeah, this is dumb. Oh, sorry. It's loud.
If you look at it in sheer numbers, if you dig hundreds of parallel tunnels, then you could move thousands of cars, and that's just more efficient, right? I mean, you could go down 2 or 3 miles.
That's what he says. Yeah,
with tunnels. Right. Yeah, but you got to dig every one of those tunnels. It takes time and energy to dig them.
But that
was the absurdity that I was getting at there, Mark.
But that's the sales pitch: is that his tunnels are cheaper and smaller and blah blah blah.
Yeah, basically, but they're not 100 times cheaper than a regular tunnel. They're
not 100 times, not yet.
They're maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what he's targeting other than speed.
But that means that you'd have to dig, 10 tunnels. They're still 3 times cheaper, but you're still paying more. So it becomes a question of economics at that point.
So what you do is you take a handful of straws, right, and you kind of look at them this way. And then you create tunnels, just like all those straws, add 1 California earthquake, and that kind of ends the story right there.
That was another one of the things he talked to on this long Twitter, is that the subway tunnels around the world have never had earthquake damage compared to their cities when the earthquakes happen, because they're in the soil. But
Tony's analogy of straws together, that would be a different...
that would be interesting to see.
Honeycombed, but okay, we digress.
I guess the closest for that would be like the European channel, where you've got the 2 tubes side by side.
Right.
Curious how that works out.
Right. Yeah. Next, a Norway dealership, a Mercedes dealership in Norway, starts to see the EV wave close up. This particular dealership has started to notice over the past 3.5 months that sedan sales for them have dropped a rapid 33%, which they're kind of getting worried that where are our sales going? We're not getting them as normal, and this EV wave thing could be real. And again, Norway, the most EV populated country on Earth, they're a group or a country that's selling rapid amounts of EVs, all sorts, in that country. So getting new car sales of up to 50% of a given month. So certainly that is where traditional car dealerships are going to see a lapse in sales first. and that will be. And this is one of these. This particular Mercedes dealership was talking about this this situation happening in real life to them. Next,
There you go.
Model 3 gets certified in Australia, one of the last countries to get certified in. Finally, the Aussies, they're at the back of the bus in this particular instance, but now they can, the Model 3 books should be open with them shortly, now that the car is certified in Australia. So this is one of the last countries that have been waiting to get their hands on the Model 3. And the Aussies are about to receive it based on this certification information that was passed this week.
So I love citing here in the article, the Clean Technica article starts one of the paragraphs with, according to Wikipedia, Australia has the 8th most cars per capita. I'm going to change that right now. There you go. Show title. Russell has the show title right there. The Dingo ate my Tesla. Chicken dinner.
This is just going to do the show for me for the rest of
Is that it? Yep.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. That's a good one. Next is this article in Inside EVs about buying a used Tesla over a new Tesla and some things to keep in mind, which is great because, of course, budget conscious people are always looking for ways to save a few dollars and to see if it makes more sense to buy a used vehicle as opposed to a new one, especially when EVs as a whole are touted as less maintenance required vehicles. Since there's less moving parts, in theory, you're supposed to, of course, be able to run the car longer between maintenance periods. There's less moving parts. There's less to break down. This gentleman owned a Model S, purchased it used, drove it for a number of miles, and talks about his experience about owning a used vehicle as opposed to a new vehicle, and what he has experienced with warranty and non-warranty items on that particular car. This Model S that he purchased 3 years after it was new, and he talks about how the drivetrain, the motors, were certainly all, the battery is still under warranty on the vehicle. He's driven it within the ranges of those constraints, but he does talk about things that the Model S has some problems, like the presentable door handles that many people have seen issues with. Many people have had to replace door handles, and not necessarily a cheap item, but it's something that will certainly get to people if they don't work, or if they have one that doesn't work as opposed to the other three. So I found it an interesting read about what this gentleman says. You know, you have to start weighing things. If there are expensive repairs, that starts to eat into your budget. I realize you didn't spend the large amount out front, but of course we've got a situation here where once expenses start to come on, you're eating into that budget that you thought you were saving from. So it becomes a question of whether the car is that you have is reliable, or if it's just your car, or if it's a segment of cars. So
if I'm looking at this correctly, and the detailed here down toward the bottom part of the article, so he paid $110,000. The original owner paid $110,000, and I'm not getting into the depreciation here, but I'm looking at the out-of-pocket expenses: 3 sets of tires, annual inspections, and so that was $7,100. So we're saying that all in, it was $117,000 in 5 years. And so this guy then bought it for $50,000, and then out-of-pocket expenses was another $7,000. So almost the same. So he had a $57,000 car.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and that's, and I guess, tires and inspections, that's to be expected. Yep. But in 5 years, he had 3 sets of tires?
Yes. I have 3 sets of tires on my Model S.
and
it's
they're
a heavy car.
$1,200?
They're expensive tires.
Okay.
Yeah, I spent $1,000 a set at a minimum each time.
I got nothing to say to that because I have never spent.
Yeah, but you don't have those size tires either.
Yeah, they were
Right.
19s at a minimum.
Yeah.
So I bought a used Model S as 2016 as well. I went through 4 door handles. The most annoying one is always the driver's door handle. And
Yeah, you can live with the other ones, right?
yeah, exactly. And I had additional 2 driver handles on cars that belong to Tesla. So in my loaner cars, and yeah, so that was the one thing that I don't miss about my Model S. It was a lovely car. I do enjoy it, and I do look back fondly upon it. But I am so glad that my Model X just has those buttons and not the stupid door handles. They look cool, but oh man, as I was approaching the end of the warranty, I literally had a anxiety about what happens when these $1,000 freaking door handles break again.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, you Tesla people just need to have a little respect for the Bugatti Veyron owners. Okay? Their tires run like 40 grand a set. Okay? So quit your whining about $1,200 tires.
And people do burnouts on that? Ooh.
Yeah.
And they have to change them every 2,500 miles.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought 20,000 was bad.
No,
And,
2,500.
Yeah, I thought 20,000 was bad.
No.
All right. Look, if you've got that much money to throw away, save some money and just do coke. All right.
Right? What's wrong with the traditional stuff? You know?
These damn millennials.
Oh my goodness. This has gone down a rabbit hole. There's
Yeah.
no helping it.
All right. That's
story of the
that's
evening.
my
Last
show
story.
title right there. Save your money and just do coke.
Now we're never getting on YouTube, kids.
Yeah, that title would flag something, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Something we don't want. But last story of the evening, there was a story that we reported on last week about some vandals that attacked a car, were captured on video. And these 2 gentlemen in California, turns out there was over 1.1 million views of this video across the internet. And these 2 gentlemen turned themselves into authorities earlier this week. So good to know that Century Mode caught these people, and of course the people spreading it across the internet were able to convince them to turn themselves in because they were being hunted down by angry people. So good to see that they were actually caught. They turned themselves in, but this damage of a particular Model 3 was in a parking lot by this particular truck owner was something that we were glad to see that they were actually brought to justice or will be brought to the justice shortly. So bravo, Century Mode, bravo people on the internet sharing it and convincing them to turn themselves in.
Yeah, I mean, how I look at the pictures, and the pictures are just so clear. I'm like, yeah, this won't take long.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. Casey, would you have something to share to us where people can see what you do?
Yeah, youtube.com/Casey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. I tend to focus on supercharger reviews, but it's all about the EV lifestyle, and you'll find me on there.
Very good, very good. Mr. Schaefer.
I'm going to give a shout out to everybody in the chat room. Thanks for spending some time with us. Really do appreciate it. Everyone that's out there. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and read through the chat room for those who haven't been paying attention. So at 6:03, Hockey Day joined and said, hello, everyone. And at 6:04. No,
that's our next show, Tony.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Our next show.
Okay, yes. I don't want to ruin it.
No, that's show 102.
You should just have everybody in the chat room on the show. You know, at that point.
That may just happen after reading it. Absolutely. Yeah. Mr. Frost.
I just want to thank everybody who watches and listens. I want to thank Lee Moon for our amazing theme music. Thank you, Lee Moon. That's all I got.
Excellent. Excellent. I wanted to thank everyone that watched as well. And if you're watching, please give us a like. Give us a thumbs up. Hell, the show is free. Why not? Help us out. If you haven't subscribed already, press that button. If you want notifications, press the bell, and you'll be notified when the show starts, like it did today, late. You will be notified. So it's always good to get that notification. So click that bell, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe. You can follow us through the week at our Twitter feed at The Tesla Life and on our Facebook page, The Tesla Life #1. So with that said, and my voice dying again, we thank you for watching, spending an hour with us, and we will check in with you next week, and you will find out what is going on in the Tesla life. Man, that was almost professional. We're right there. Good night, everybody.